New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring. New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Live from a secure concrete bunker somewhere in Ohio, New Thought Media Network presents Pastor Michael Mangus with Friday's Fireside Chat, spiritual conversation for today. Here he is from the secret radio room, surrounded by thousands of watts, Pastor Michael Mangus.
In the very cold bunker this evening. Yes, in the cold concrete bunker. Well, hi there. Good evening. It is Reverend Michael Mangus, and I'd like to wish everyone here a very good evening here. To everyone in the United States and also around the world, it is time once again for another fun-filled, thrill-packed, and yes, guaranteed, exciting edition of the Friday evening Fireside Chat here on your New Thought Media Network. Again, Reverend Michael from the extra secure concrete bunker somewhere around Akron, Ohio, that is so top secret. Only one person knows where it's at. Everyone else, including my boss, the Reverend Dr. Robert Brzezinski, he has no idea where the concrete bunker is located, and we're going to keep it that way because a lot of times during the week, I don't want to let him know where I'm at. Well, hello there, everyone. I see we have a few people watching this evening. And if you would like to chime in, please do so in the comments, either on YouTube or on Facebook. And for all of those who are watching us on replay or on recording, hello there. And I know some of you do not want to go on the chat and to use your name, especially with this broadcast. I really don't blame you. I don't. But if you would like to contact me, it's pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com, pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com. Please contact me during the week. And it's always nice to hear from folks from not only the United States, but also around the world. Well, we do have a wonderful show for you this evening here. And the purpose of our evening weekly get together here is to have a warm cup of something, alcoholic or not. Now, this is non-alcoholic this evening. This is cocoa. All right. I've been accused of having a little good stuff in there, but no, not tonight. But the purpose of us getting together is to really to have a conversation about what is going on in the world and also our part in it as individuals who consider themselves maybe spiritually aware, is that it is very important, I believe, at this time that we take control of not only of our minds, but of our actions to, again, to make this world a better place. We have the power, and that the news has been just a fire hose recently. I mean, especially for the past year since this number 47's administration is back in the White House. So I'm not saying get overwhelmed by the news. I'm saying let's talk about it. let's talk about what we can do here to make this world a much better place. And this evening, our usual troublemaker, the Reverend Jeff Radcliffe, is not with us this evening. He had some things that he needed to do. I actually went out and spent the boss's money and went ahead and got a real newsman this evening. Let me introduce to you a veteran news anchor and journalist from Northeastern Ohio, Mark Williamson. Mark began working in broadcasting while in college. The same time I was at Akron U, where he took a job at afternoon news at a local radio station. Mark went by one name for the newscast and then switched to another for his nightly show. What was your nightly show name?
I'm not telling you.
Oh, okay. It's a secret. Okay. You may have to use it in the future, right?
I might.
Okay.
I might. I'm in witness protection. Or witness
Are you in secret concrete bunker too?
I'm not. I probably should be.
Okay. All right. Well, he moved to our local radio TV station, WAKR, while still in college, and began doing radio news and sports. He was also one of those guys that flew around in a Cessna 150. Mark, I bet you have some stories about that. Within a short time, he was tasked with doing radio, AM and FM, and also television news and sports. Eventually, in 1980, while still in school at the University of Akron, he began anchoring the 6 and 11 o'clock news on the TV station while doing occasional radio newscasts. In 1996, Williamson left TV news to become the City of Akron Director of Communication and Mayor Don Pasquale's press secretary. And in 2013, Williamson moved to the Akron Public Schools and was Director of Communication until his retirement in late 2024. Mark is a part of my Broadcasters Lunch group that meets monthly. And he's also a Facebook friend who tries to stick up for the facts and not the spin. So, ladies and gentlemen, my friend Mark Williamson. Mark, welcome to the Friday Evening Fireside Chat.
Thank you. I actually had a fire going for the Fireside Chat, but it's kind of pooped out. I haven't been able to attend it because I'm I'm glued to my chair. But but thank you. Thanks for inviting me on, and I look forward to the next 52 minutes.
52 minutes.
Like
so now I heard this. First of all, thank you for your public service to both the City of Akron and also to our school system. Now, is it true, Mark, that you got your job with the City of Akron because Mayor Don Pasquale at that time called you up and said, I don't like you, I hate your guts, but I need your help? Is that true or not?
Pretty much. He didn't say hate your guts, but he said I never really liked you very much.
Okay.
But I would like to hire you because you know how to handle the media. So I'm sort of like, I think it's like a necessary evil, like something you have to have in your house that you just hate having, but you have like a plunger, right? Like a plunger would be like like you don't want to use it, but boy, really glad I have this when I need it. When the oatmeal hits the fan, I can So I was kind of like that, and so the relationship between us always had that. I think they always kind of had that friction there. I don't think he ever really let go of that, and as a reporter, as a journalist, you try really you try to be dispassionate, you try to be impartial, and people say things about politicians and all kinds of terrible things about politicians, and I didn't have a feeling one way or the other about him as a person. I thought he did a great job leading the city for many, many years. He was always way, way ahead of most people with the way he thought, his vision for the future, and then his innate ability to just make it happen, to get things done. When other people, especially in politics, they just check the direction of the wind before they open their mouth. Don Pasquale never did that. He always spoke his mind, and he was honest about it. And, regardless of what the consequences might be, and you got to give him credit for that because those people are hard to find today.
Mayor Don was a character.
Yeah.
He was one of a kind, and that's what Akron needed at the time. My boss is already chiming in. We're in trouble here, Mark. He says, "Now wait, how much of my money did you spend?"
Is he asking you or me?
Okay. Rev Doc, more likely is I'm going to buy his lunch next time. Okay, at Broadcasters Group. He said somebody better tell him not to try to cash the check.
We have a
low budget here at the New Thought Media Network.
Oh, that's all right. I'm an expert at that, actually.
What, working with a low budget?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Well, before we get to the serious news, let's talk about what happened this week. For everyone, happy Groundhog's Day. Most of the U.S. groundhogs, including Puxatawny Phil, predicted 6 more weeks of winter in 2026. Multiple sources confirmed that Phil saw his shadow, and other major groundhogs like Staten Island Chuck did also as well. Contributing to the nationwide lean toward a long winter. Now, here in Ohio, Buckeye Chuck, let's see here, that's Puxatawny. You saw a shadow. And here, that is Buckeye Chuck.
Could be anybody, right?
What now?
It could be any groundhog.
That is Buckeye Chuck, though.
Okay. All right.
Okay. He did not see a shadow in 2026 and predicting an early spring. So now we also have another groundhog that we have talked about on this program, and that is the West Virginia groundhog, French Creek Freddy. He did see his shadow, and he did, again, predict 6 more weeks of winter, like his cousin, Puxatawny Phil. So basically is that we have 6 more weeks of the bad stuff, no matter what.
but let me point this out, geographically speaking.
Yes.
You have one groundhog in the middle of 2 others.
Right.
In a state that borders the 2 others, and the 2 others have 6 more weeks of winter, but we don't.
Okay.
Now, meteorologically speaking, I'm not a meteorologist, but I got to think.
Nor do you play one on TV, but go ahead.
That's going to be kind of a tough thing to swing there. How Ohio suddenly jumps out of winter and these other 2 poor states are going to suffer. I mean, I'm just trying to think logically here.
Well, again, I just think it gives people an opportunity to get out of their homes and go drink some fire whiskey and to go eat some pancakes. I mean, that's why 30,000 people go to Puxatawny, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
It's not for the stupid groundhog; it's for the breakfast.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, that makes sense. That's right.
But I hope everyone had a very nice Groundhog's Day. And again, wherever that you're at, most of the country, it's pretty cold, but
sure is. Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, yes, it is that time. I want us all to strap in here to pull your seatbelt on, put your seatbelt on, get ready. So, ladies and gentlemen, and also non-binary, it is time this evening for the news. And now, from SIN, the Spiritual Information Network, it is time for the news. Reverend, and Mark reporting. I tried to find the WAKR sounder. Remember the WAKR sounder that started? It
still plays in my head. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Well, that was not in the budget. So
Tim could have given that to you for free, I think.
Tim has it?
I'll bet he does.
Jim, do you have the WAKR sounder? Okay, we'll have to get that from him later on. All right. I guess we have to do this here. So today, the U.S. and Iran agreed to talk more as the Trump administration rolls out additional oil sanctions. The U.S. and Iranians have agreed to hold follow-up discussions after consultations with their capitals following today's indirect talks in Oman, an outcome cautiously viewed as a positive result by both sides, according to sources familiar. Now, this is where it gets messed up. The U.S. delegation differed from the previous rounds of the U.S.-Iran talks, which took place before the U.S. strikes on Iranian nuclear sites last year. President DT's envoy, Steve Witkoff, who the Iranians don't like at all, led for the U.S. previously, along with a small team that joined him over time. But Trump's son-in-law, do you remember a guy by the name of Jared Kushner?
Mm-hmm.
He was in the room for this round. And also U.S. Central Command Commander Admiral Brad Cooper was also part of that delegation. Kushner had long been expected to join the discussions, but Cooper's inclusion in the delegation was not expected. His presence marked the first time that a senior U.S. military official joined the indirect talks with Iran during Trump's second term. And again, some context, the Iranians grew frustrated with Witkoff. They didn't like him over the course of last year's talks. And some people involved believe that having new U.S. players could lead to more productive discussions.
A lot of words there, but not much going on.
Well, again, just it's going to be interesting this next year of whether or not that we get into another war or not. That hopefully not. But again, as we get closer to November, again, with Trump saying, well, we need to nationalize the elections, with the raid on the Alabama. Was it Alabama?
Georgia.
Georgia. Okay. Yeah. The voting records down there. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens.
Yeah. The pressure is going to be building, and he doesn't respond well to. And when he gets backed in a corner, that's why all the things that you see happen, these distractions, and whenever there's some weird thing like that happened today, we'll talk about that. But I'm always just holding my breath, waiting for what event is that meant to cover up? What event is that meant to distract us from? So what's coming next?
Well, again, that we had the release of only half of the Epstein files, of which they're still sifting through, and they're still finding all kinds of stuff. And whose name was mentioned in it thousands of times?
38,000.
Donald Trump.
38,000.
But in the category of weight, there's more. And also things that you should not do as president. Here you go. A racist video deleted from Trump's account as the White House blames a staffer for posting it. The racist video shared on President DT's Truth Social account has been deleted, with the White House now blaming a staffer. Those staffers, those interns, they have nothing else better to do but to post racist videos. Threw a staffer under the bus for posting it late on Thursday. A White House staffer erroneously made a post. It's been taken down, a senior White House official told CNN. Now, there was other news outlets that went ahead and had a picture of it. The post, which depicted former President Barack Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama as apes, which I just find absolutely, completely disgusting. I wouldn't even put it up, but I went ahead and put up the next scariest picture I could. And that's Caroline Leavitt.
You know, they had a different spin on this at first, and nobody believed it. So that's
Which
when
was?
they blamed this kid. Well, she said it was out of context. It was a video that was about Donald Trump being the king of the jungle or something. And it
Yep.
was like, it's like, I mean, and look, I did that job. Okay. I did that job for 16 years for a volatile, outspoken mayor.
Yes.
The difference is he never, ever lied, right? He said things that did him absolutely no good because it was true. Right? So it's really easy to do that job
Yeah.
if you're not worried about that. If the person you're working for is honest, then you just tell the truth. But these people are every day they're coming up with some weird story to cover. I mean, it's crazy. That whole thing it's not just reprehensible. I mean, it's nuts. It's just nuts.
And then she says, please stop
Yeah.
the fake outrage
Yeah,
and
yeah.
report on something that actually matters to the American people.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not fake. No, I mean, people are really
Well, what happened?
outrage.
And what happened was politicians from both parties, including all of his bought-out friends in the GOP, including Tim Scott and Mike Lawler, they called up the White House and they said, Mr. President, you need to remove that post. A source familiar with the matter says that the GOP lawmakers had called Trump to discuss it with him.
I can't imagine what it would be like to be a Republican who's going to run. And they've got to sit here for the next several months deciding every time something happens, which way do I go? So I can admonish him so that when I run, I can say, well, I brought that to his attention. Right? They always have to have cover. So they're going to say something like that. Well, I did tell the president how I felt about that. Right? Nobody really does anything about it. But when these people come up for reelection, they have to decide, am I in his camp or not? And that's they've put themselves in that spot. But that's going to be, like you said, very, very interesting because the stress of all that on all those people, as we get closer, it's going to be the silly season for probably 6 months running. Maybe
well,
more.
I think it's going to be an interesting political season. And Emily Sykes, who is our representative here in the 13th district.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Man, I'll tell you what, she's going to, they're pouring in the money in this area and they're putting some really interesting individuals up against her. So I don't think though, that the hardcore, this is not going to affect the hardcore Trump people, but it is affecting the individuals again who says, well, went ahead and decided, well, which is the least worst of the two evils of the politicians. Yeah. So, but Amelia Sykes, again, I know Amelia. I worked with her, and all of the things that they say about Amelia Sykes. Yeah, she's a politician, but I'm going, you haven't worked with her. You haven't been with her in the trenches. You haven't, you don't see, a lot of the things that she does for the people of our district.
Yeah, they don't see any of it.
They don't see any of that stuff.
Yeah, they really don't. Yeah. I mean, that goes for, the grandstanding and all of, and she's really not one of those folks, but the grandstanding and the people that want to get on the news at night with a soundbite about something are very skilled at it. They've done it for years. And, there's a, I don't want to call it an art form, but, I think that you can be clever, but not intelligent. And I think a lot of politicians are clever. They're not smart, but they're clever. And the average person who doesn't have that cleverness, maybe they're just smart. If your brain doesn't think that way, it's a very strange thing to see somebody get up and defend some of the crazy stuff that's going on. People like Lindsey Graham who said things that, and you just wonder, like, wow, how did you just go in front of 300 million people and say that? but they
Well,
know
maybe
it's
it was
calculated.
alcohol fueled.
Yeah, but I mean, all these people, they know this is these are all strategically done. They know exactly who they're talking to.
Yeah.
And so many of those people are gerrymandered that they don't have any, they're not worried. They're not worried. They're not going to lose because of the way the districts have been drawn for like someone like Jim Jordan in Ohio. He can pretty much say whatever
Mark
he wants.
Williamson, I told you about that. Legal told me not to have you cuss on this program.
Oh, sorry.
To the rest of the country and also the world, yes, this is the home state of Representative Jim Jordan. We apologize.
Yeah.
Also, we are the home state of J.D. Vance. Again, Lent is coming up. We will go through the streets in sackcloth and ashes for that. Okay, we are so sorry for those two gentlemen in our government from Ohio.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's very, people I know all over the country, whenever that guy's on for some hearing or something, they just stick it to us. I mean, and rightfully so. It's I totally get it.
Let's see here. Tim said, I prefer Buckeye Chuck's prediction. Okay.
Yeah. Tim loves sun and spring and warm. He sounds aware. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and also it says the Trump PR department should be called the Department of Diversions.
Yeah, I mean that's they take spin. It's not even spin. It's like wash, spin, rinse, spin, wash. Rinse. I mean they go through all the cycles and then they stand there too with a straight face. I really don't know how.
I don't know how.
How
does Caroline Levitt?
Great
how
skill.
Did she do that?
Well,
how does she spin it in that way? Well, anyhow, we had a miracle happen this week when the president was at the prayer breakfast, the national prayer breakfast, and the curtains did not catch on fire. Trump mocks mealtime prayer at National Prayer Breakfast. President Trump has ribbed Speaker Mike Johnson for praying before meals during a speech at a prayer breakfast. Trump was speaking on Thursday at the National Prayer Breakfast in Washington, D.C. During his rambling monologue. Trump riffed on his well-documented fears of not getting into heaven before laughing at Johnson for trying to make him pray before lunchtime. Trump said, in 2025, I wish I had a good Trump imitation, but I don't. But in 2025, more copies of the Holy Bible were sold in U.S. than any other time in the last 100 years.
Wow. He can cheapen even the most.
And then he says, and how about that? Did you know that, Mr. Speaker? Looking at Mike Johnson. But
so you're the minister here, right? Not me.
Okay.
How do we explain this? That there are people that are Christians who think that they like him because he's honest, because he tells the truth. This whole thing, like this guy could get up there and say anything and not lose favor.
Right.
And that like the curtain's catching on fire. I mean, he's at this is sacred, hallowed ground for these folks.
Right.
And I didn't hear one person. Now I can't hear everybody, but I read a lot. I didn't see anybody. Now you mentioned somebody, but I mean, that really came out and said, "I'm disgusted." I mean, someone that supports him. I'm done. I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I can't sit through this. I don't care what this guy does for my taxes. I cannot, in all good conscience, say as a Christian that I'm going to follow this.
And that I think that the tide is starting to turn in that area, Mark. Again, we talked about before we went on the air about this whole idea of Christian nationalism, which there's nothing, absolutely nothing Christian about it. It's about power.
Mhm.
And there's not only Christian nationalism, but there's also Hindu nationalism, Islamic nationalism. Again, it's when you put power before the religion, when you put power before the teachings of the teacher. And that is exactly what's happening here. The reason that the Christian right, like Trump, is because, again, that basically is it, you can do whatever you want as long as you support me. And I've asked my Christian friends, I've said, well, they'll come back to me and they'll say, well, we're not hiring him to be our pastor. You vote for him because of again, that you want a leader for your country. And again, who has morals and ethics, who's not lining his pockets, using the taxpayers' money. And again, I think all of this is going to come out here in the future, in some type of trials, Nuremberg or something. There is the amount of crime that's going on here with individuals thinking it's not going to catch up with them. History is against you. But anyhow, talking about during his address to God at the National Prayer Breakfast on Thursday, Representative Jonathan Jackson, who's a Democrat from Illinois, called on President Donald Trump to be invested in the elevation of suffering of the people of this country, including the families preparing to bury their loved ones in Minneapolis. This is right in front of, during his prayer. Representative Jackson, who is the son of civil rights leader Jesse Jackson, asked God to remind the president that he has the power to turn mourning into dance or to reduce the country into a cosmic elegy of chaos and suffering. As Trump stood just feet away, his eyes fluttering open and shut during the prayer. More likely he was asleep. The representative's prayer provided an uninterrupted moment in a crowded room to call attention to the ongoing and violent federal immigration operations in Minneapolis, which, as Jackson noticed, included agents fatally shooting 2 U.S. citizens, Renee Good and Alex Preddy. And both men were on stage at the 74th annual National Prayer Breakfast, an event that every president has attended since Dwight D. Eisenhower. So I think that there has been moments here in the past year where brave people, including the one woman bishop.
Yeah, she was terrific. Yeah.
Yeah, who went ahead and spoke, again, truth to power. And as you and I were talking about, there's a lot of people, even within my organization, who want ministers like myself to shut up. Just teach spiritual principles. Don't mention any of this stuff at all. Just, is that, if we continue to work on ourselves, then the world will eventually turn itself around. And what you and I were talking about is that they don't understand that it's not just them, it's the we, it's us. How can I, as a person who claims to have, to be moral and ethical, how can I not speak up and speak out about what's going on in Minneapolis? How can I not do that? Again, that from the Old Testament, it talks about the prophets being prophetic and going to the rulers and saying, you're screwing up here. This is not going to work out very well for you. And some of the prophets, again, they lost their lives. But this whole idea of that clergy in this country is not supposed to say anything. And another place where this discussion is going on is in the Catholic Church. You have individuals, again, conservative Catholics, who basically want their bishops to shut up. As long as Trump has done a lot of good things here. He went ahead and he put in a conservative court that reversed Roe v. Wade. They're switching around a lot of the decisions that were made by this leftist court. So they don't see anything wrong with it. Your comment, Reverend. Your comment.
I think the people are misunderstanding this politics with the capital P. We're not sitting here debating, bills and procedure and all that. This is life in America that we're talking about. This is life. It's not politics. It kind of masquerades that way because a lot of this is driven by current administration, obviously. However, if I'm not, but if I were in the church as a minister, I would say to people, well, look, this is really what's happening all around you. If there were race riots in our city, would you prefer that we, as a church in the middle of it, not talk about it? Should we just pretend it's not like we walk down the street, we're exposed to it, we see it on the news, but when we come in here, we don't speak of it. So these things that are happening are really close to home for people. Somebody just a guy's a nurse, just some everyday regular Joe who happens to try to stick up for somebody in a protest that's completely, part of being a democracy. And look what happens to him. Right. And the church's, my opinion is, the church's position is to talk about that in terms of humanity.
Yes.
Not politics, not policy, not was it right or wrong? No. It's just this is the humanity. Where in the world are we going here?
Right.
As a society, how do you, as a spiritual leader, like you were saying to me earlier before we went on, like if you're a spiritual leader, even if you're not, right? It's like, I could get up and talk about this, about what's wrong with it. It's really not hard. And it's certainly not wrong.
Well, unfortunately, that sometimes when you're in the position of spiritual leader is that there's other people signing off on your paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
And there's other people for example, like your now our denomination, which I'm affiliated with, which is Centers for Spiritual Living, we are very, again, pro people. So, but there's some congregations within even our Centers for Spiritual Living, they're the boards, the people, the treasurers, the people who sign off on our ministers' paychecks are saying, I don't think you should be talking about that. And again, unfortunately, some have lost their positions because of that.
Wow, that's a shame.
Yeah. Well, anyhow, let's take a quick break and then we'll be back. We have a lot more interesting news to talk about. Thank you, Mark, for being here this evening. This is fun.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
All right. Well, we're gonna take a quick break here and see here. Push that button. Either Friday evening fireside chat here on your New Thought Media Network. And just to let you know that coming up this Sunday at Summit Center for Spiritual Living, which is our congregation here in the Akron, Ohio area, we'll be having a very special service. Yours truly will be speaking this Sunday and talking about our form of prayer, which is called Spiritual Mind Treatment. Go to summitcsl.org for more information. Again, that address, that webpage will give you all the information that you need to get into our Zoom call. So would love to see you on Sunday mornings. We have a great group of people who meet here in the Akron, Ohio area, but then also that, we have people from California and other places who join us on Sunday. So summitcsl.org. Please join us this Sunday morning, 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific time. All right. We're going to take a real quick break, and then we'll be right back with Mark Williamson. This is the Friday evening fireside chat here on your New Thoughts Media Network.
Please help us say thank you to all of our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Center for Spiritual Living United Life, Sunshine Cathedral, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Universal Joy Center, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Home Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. On behalf of New Thought Media Network, thank you, and please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, come be you.
The views and opinions expressed by Pastor Michael Mangus are generally right. However, they are his own and do not reflect the views and opinions of New Thought Media Network, Centers for Spiritual Living, or any other person living or dead. As they say in the 12-Step Recovery Program, take what you like and leave the rest. Here again is Pastor Michael.
Of over 40 hours a week of programming that we have on the New Thought Media Network, I am the only one required by legal to have that kind of disclaimer.
Good for you.
Good for me. Well, again, legal's been pretty good to me, and they keep me out of trouble and
Well,
and answer the phone calls when necessary.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not walking that line, you're probably not doing your job. I mean, I feel like that with a lot of things, and there's a lot of people now that are afraid to say anything, and I get it. And there's the lack of scrutiny by the media. And this is just something near and dear to my heart, is most disturbing, because I don't think people realize the job that the Fourth Estate has done for decades on the coverage of public entities that we pay taxes to, that are responsible for the welfare of millions and millions of people, and infrastructure and health and welfare, all that. And now that you've removed layers and layers and layers of reporters, the people in the government, believe me, they know that they're not being watched. And that's concerning to me.
What do you think when the president goes ahead and goes off on reporters, especially female reporters, calling them names, saying that you're a terrible reporter, your network stinks, and I mean, and that the rest of the press corps just remains quiet?
Yeah. You know what I think? I wish that David Brinkley, Sam Donaldson, Sander Van Oker, Bettina Gregory, Ann Compton were there. I wish the people that I grew up with watching, who didn't take guff from anybody, were there. I mean, Sam Donaldson would have just had him for lunch. Yeah, and it's they now, the way it is now, that a lot of people on television and the media have their own little brand, and they don't want to damage their brand, right, by getting into it with the president of the United States. But there were reporters back in the day who would have said things like, "Excuse me, Mr. President, do you expect America to believe, blah, 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 fill in the blank, or, personal attacks on me aren't going to get you anywhere. You just answer the damn question, something like that. Right? I mean, really,
Right.
that's Sam Donaldson would have just handed it to him. And the women, Ann Compton and Bettina, this is female reporters that were just, and you talk
You didn't
about a
wanna
tough
mess with them.
environment.
They
Well, no,
wouldn't take
because
tough.
they were working in a male-dominated profession. They were the first women to do this kind of work, and I got to tell you, it wasn't like it is today at all. And it was really, really tough on every front for those women to do those jobs back then.
Right. So what's your opinion on what happened a couple of weeks ago with the Don Lemon and Georgia Fort, both independent journalists, getting arrested for being at a protest, not being in the protest, but just being there covering it as City's Church because one of their pastors is also an ICE agent. Your comment on that?
Yeah, it's just, I mean, look, these are the freedoms that we've taken for granted in this country for years. And now we have somebody in charge and a number of people actually up there in charge with him who don't care. And they, I think they're fairly confident in the knowledge that no one's going to challenge him. What you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Sue us? What are you gonna do? Are you gonna make fun of us on late night television?
Well, again,
it was like it happens every day. There is nothing to dissuade these people from doing stuff. That's the scary part, because look at the children that have been deported. I mean, that's not false. That's the truth. There was a ruling in a case today. A judge ruled on, said this is wrong. The way you're doing this is wrong.
Absolutely.
So, but they don't care.
It's interesting, though, again, and I call them the pearl clutchers, the people who go ahead and they say, oh, how dare they interrupt a church service? How dare they do that?
Yeah.
And then things like this happen, and Pam Bondi and crew go ahead and ignore it. Pastor Jamal Bryant demands arrest after a man storms a church service. I think it was last weekend. A weekend worship service at Pastor Jamal Bryant's church turned tense after an uninvited preacher barged into the building, pulled out a camera, and began shouting condemnations at the congregation mid-service. I think this was the week after what happened.
What city was that in, Michael?
That was in, I think, Bryant, he's the senior leader of the New Birth Missionary Baptist Church in Atlanta.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay. He's now calling for authorities to identify and arrest the man, arguing that the disruption crossed the line from free speech into criminal behavior. But wait, there's more. And I saw this online and I said, Texas Republican Valentina Gomez crashed an LGBTQ friendly church service and was swiftly escorted out of the building. Gomez showed up at the service at the Faith Church in Texas, who described themselves as an open and affirming congregation who celebrate diversity. I think they're a member of the United Church of Christ. Gomez posted a video to her official X account with the captions, "Pedophile churches don't like it when you quote the Bible. These pedophiles use the name of Jesus in vain and lead others astray. Tolerance of sin is not a Christian virtue." Church staff swiftly escorted Gomez out of the building, where she claimed that they were an abomination. In response, the Faith Church posted a statement from their Facebook account saying that some people have too much time, too much fear, too little information, and too much hypocrisy. Far too many people claim to be Christian, but exhibit no love, awareness of Jesus' teachings, and no sign of practicing his qualities. So where's Pam Bondi now? 2 instances in the past month of other people going into houses of worship, causing a disturbance,
Right.
and no one's being charged.
Yeah. And Don Lemon.
I mean, it was,
Yeah.
I mean, it's crickets.
Yeah. Yeah. But see, every one of these, right? And it seems like every day there's another one of these, not this specifically, but there's something every day where you and I and a bunch of our friends sit around and say to ourselves, how, like the thing today with the Obamas and the social media thing. I mean, Gary Hart lost his entire career because of one photograph of him sitting with some woman on a boat.
Yes.
Okay. Now
I remember that.
Right. And history is littered with these kinds of things, right? But now you can have one of those every hour and a half.
Oh, every
for
minute.
10 years. For 10 years. You can have an insurrection. You can, have people shot. You have people arrested. You can be sued. You can have 34 convictions as a felon. You're still president. Wow. I think that any reasonable person has to step back and say, how is this happening? Reasonable. So,
yes.
but people that don't see that somehow are identifying in a positive way with this whole thing. It's like identity politics, right? They have some sort of identification that makes them feel somehow fortified by this bad behavior. And you know what? Donald Trump's going to die and he'll be gone and they'll replace him, whatever. Maybe we'll vote somebody good in, who knows? But these millions of people walking around this country that think that stuff is okay, they're still here.
Do you think that, Mark, it had anything to do with during Bill Clinton, him signing off on the getting rid of the fairness doctrine?
Oh, you're Reagan.
Was it Reagan?
Yeah,
well,
Reagan,
he also signed something else too, but go ahead.
Yeah, the fairness doctrine, and the way the fairness doctrine worked, and I know this just because I worked in broadcasting, it really dealt more with public affairs programming than it did the day-to-day news. Okay. So let's say I brought you on to talk about something, and you wanted to, let's say, LGBTQ. Let's say you talked about it for half an hour on a talk show. One of those where there's like a rubber fake plant and two guys sitting there talking. Okay. Well, the fairness doctrine required that we would seek out opposition to that and give somebody equal time to come on and state their opposite opinion, right?
Okay.
The day-to-day news, our news, like the news we did, and most people, their news is balanced. They're not out there just giving one side. Every journalist knows you got to do both sides. You have to. But what the fairness doctrine did, what the loss of the fairness doctrine, it is like a lot of other things. Once you take the guardrails down, first people start to swerve a little bit, then they start to weave a little bit off the road, then they're going off the cliff. And we're at a point now where there aren't any rules at all. And Fox News, and this will upset some people, but I mean, Fox News is not news. And because it's on cable,
they're not news.
No. But see, cable, the rules for cable are different than they are for broadcast television. Yes. Because people pay for it. So you can do pretty much anything you want. But what we're doing now is we are purposely misleading people and making money at it. So we're going to do it more. And that's where everybody in that business, the reason Donald Trump got so much ink and so much airtime in his first bid for president was the ratings went up every time he was on.
Yeah.
They saw that. And people said, wait a minute, there's something this guy's got going. We don't care. Wait, put him on. Just put him on. And the talk time that he had in the debates was 3 to 4 times more than anybody else on the stage. And you know what? He just kept doing it, and they kept letting him. And, very few people stood up to the guy. And this is why people make this parallel with Hitler, right? Because this is how this happens.
All right. So this is from my boss. Again, the views and opinions expressed.
Am I fired? Did he fire me?
No.
Okay.
No. The check may actually be good,
Oh.
but it says, I know this is kind of early to ask, but what kind of racist will Trump do tomorrow?
Yeah, that's like every day, right? What was the thing today supposed to be cover for that we haven't gotten to yet? Or as your boss is asking, it is Black History Month. So he may pick, maybe a couple of days a week and do something. Maybe he'll write something about Duke Ellington. It's because he can.
Well, you got on the boss's good side. He says Mark can be on the air anytime.
Well, how nice.
Thank you, Reverend Dr. Robert. And also,
right.
Let's see here. Tim also says, I hope more and more citizens wake up and realize that our very way of life and basic freedoms to live a peaceful life is at risk. Frightening. And Diana also wrote, she says, the only thing I know is to pray and believe in kindness is shown to everyone. And when it is not, that to start seeing that you get more honey instead of with vinegar. And I think with the contrast, the yin and the yang, I think that we're getting some good contrast where people can say, well, that we're seeing some real evil stuff here. And that we have also the capacity of being good, of coming from a place of our spirituality. Mark, we only have a few more minutes. I wanted, one of the things that a lot of people, and I didn't realize this until I started going to the broadcasters group, but you're a longtime meditator, a 50-year meditator, and also you practice yoga. So give some tips here of things that you've used that have helped you get through, especially the past couple of years of the craziness.
It's just we call it mindfulness, basically being present. It's a challenge in our culture. A lot of cultures, they've mastered it. It's just part of their daily life. They can walk down the street and be meditating as they're walking. Their eyes are wide open. Here, we're worried about everything. We worry. There's a lot of worrying. And we worry about the past. We worry about the future. And as we're doing that, we're not in the moment.
Right.
And one of the things with yoga and meditation is that the only way those work is for you to be there, to be in the moment. And I notice, like on Facebook, there people write things, and you're always really kind to people. And I'm thinking of what I would say. And then I read what you write and I think, I need to try to be more like that. So, there's mindfulness for being kind to ourselves. And if you're kind to yourself and you're balanced and you're staying present, everything else falls into place. It's when people's egos grab hold of them, and we see this everywhere. It's a destructive force. People start to have an idea that they're somebody that they're not, or I don't know, or they want to be somebody else. It's actually a huge problem, I think, in this country. They can't be present. They're worried about their image. They're worried about how they appear, how they sound. And really what you need to do is be quiet, right? Be quiet. I have trouble with this one. I talk a lot, but to be quiet, to be centered, to be grounded. And meditation does that for you.
Yes.
Yoga does it because yoga is a form of meditation and exercise and all that. Wellness, be well, eat well. It's not any one thing. It's like, Eckhart Tolle, who I really think is a really great guy, talks about the three-legged stool of life, the mental, the emotional, the physical, and you can't, it can't stand on two legs. You have to have all three. You've got to take care of all three, but taking care of other people is part of that too. And I think you're exceptionally good at that. I really do. And I want to say that because I'm impressed that some of the things people write. Oh man.
Well, the reason I thank you, Mark, and I get criticized for that. They say, well, why don't you have anything? Don't have anything to do with these individuals. And it's like, no, that's not my reading from Jesus.
Yeah.
So I have crazy people in my life who are, just off the rails. People who I know personally would give the shirt off their back to help another person who are lost in Trump land. I do not feel that cutting off communication with these individuals is the answer. I think having just honest communication, not trying to change them, but just to point out the facts,
Right.
to point out what is going on,
Right.
to go ahead and to say, well, there's another way of taking a look at this, that it's facts based, that I researched before I put it up here. So I think that I really work on not calling, I've been called every name in the book on Facebook, and I really try to not get into name calling. I go ahead and I say, well, we need to just come from a place of, again, let's have discussion about this. When people start getting into names and stuff like that, and I know that they're completely into their emotions. But the one thing, and then we'll need to go here, is that what I've noticed, people will say, well, how are these people going to change your minds? There's a core group of people who won't. Okay, they just won't. But there are individuals, and we see this from people who've come out of evangelical churches, who again were steeped in this for like 20, 30 years, who started to see holes in their beliefs. Things did not add up. And so it had them go down, pastor was screwing around with the church secretary. He's not supposed to do that. Oh, they went ahead and they backed the pastor, the rest of the elders. Oh, there was abuse in our church, and the woman who came to pastor for counseling went ahead and told her to go back to her husband because that's biblical. So they start to see again these cracks in the wall, these cracks in the dam. And what happens is that these cracks build up. So that's the reason why I very nicely go ahead and try to be facts-based with these individuals. Am I going to get them all? Absolutely not. Am I trying to change them in a moment? No. But what I'm doing is again, just doing that, that tap, 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 that hopefully that one or two things will come through. And it's usually, unfortunately, when something affects them. It's when a government program doesn't support them. The guy who was the head of Latinos for Trump, he's not in the country anymore. He got booted out.
Oh no.
You and I are laughing about it, but that's what we're saying here, is that our light, again, to really to take the teachings of the Buddha, to take the teachings from Hinduism, to take the teachings from Christianity, from Jesus and all the great masters, to start really applying them in our lives here and being the light in this darkness. That's the only way out, Mark, that I see. And that's the reason, again, that, I feel very privileged to be doing what I'm doing now.
Why would anybody dissuade somebody from doing that? That's what I don't understand. Why would it bother me so much that I'd say to you, you need to stop doing that? Like, I don't get that. I don't.
Well, and again, what you mean, and that understand that we have other people within, and the other ministers would understand that there's other people, again, who watch this on the tube. And there's probably some even in my own denomination that do not think that I should be doing what I'm doing. And I got that. But how can I even call myself any type of spiritual person, spiritual leader, and not have love and compassion for what's going on in the world?
Right.
And that we all can do something And an example of that is the group of Buddhist monks who walked from Texas and are going to Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
All they're doing is walking.
That's something. Yeah.
All they're doing is walking. And what is happening is that even people who are not interested at all in any type of spirituality or any type of practice. I had a friend of mine recently call me up and say, I've been watching them. And this person is not someone who I particularly thought was, had any kind of spiritual belief. And I don't press it with my friends, but she said, I'm just really impressed that those Buddhist monks, that's all that they're doing is they're walking for peace. And they're making a difference.
Yeah,
so,
that's it.
Oh, we're all out of time. The boss is probably going to yell at me. Let's see here. Tim says, thank you guys for an interesting hour.
Thanks for watching, Tim.
And thank you, Tim. Let's see here. And let's see here. Also, Diana says, thank you. Being present is the key. Thank you, Mark. All right.
Thank you.
Well, real good. Thank you for filling in. That's such a, it's Mark. This was really a fun hour. So I will see you in a couple of weeks at lunch.
Yes, you will.
And I'll pick it up. I'll put it on my boss's tab.
No, don't worry about it. Oh, well.
As long as I put it on his bill.
You got that? Okay. That's okay.
And use the New Thought Media Network credit card. Oh, thank you. Thank you very, very much.
Thanks
Mark
for inviting
Williamson.
me, Michael.
Yeah, thank you. And folks, we got to get out of here. We're over time. But again, thank you so very much for watching. I hope that this conversation that we've had this evening is sparked something within you to know that, number one, that no, you're not taking crazy pills. Number two is that we are here again as a network to love and to support you. And again, there's two choices when you are in the fire. Either let it purify you or let it burn you. So the whole idea of using our spiritual practice, as Mark does, with daily yoga and meditation, with really learning how to be really mindful. What does that mean in our daily experience? Taking our spirituality to the streets. That's what's going to make the difference. All right. On behalf of all of us here at your New Thought Media Network, I'm Reverend Michael. I'm going to wish you a very pleasant good night. And also, you have yourself a great week.
Thanks for joining us this evening for Friday's Fireside Chat with Pastor Michael Mangus. Join us again next week at 8 Eastern, 6 Mountain for more spiritual conversations for today. For more information and replays of past shows, please visit the New Thought Radio and Media Network's Facebook page. Until next week, may God bless you richly and abundantly.